You have a GoPro and you're not happy about the battery life. Well, not to worry. Today I'm going to share with you 10 tips on how to increase the battery life of your GoPro. Hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first tip I would suggest is that you turn off everything that you're not using on the GoPro, because this little module, it's filled with all sorts of functions, and if your main goal is to just film stuff, then you can turn off a lot of things. For example, Bluetooth, GPS tracking, Wi-Fi. There are all of these extra settings that you don't need that are just draining the battery as you're filming. So I would start with turning all of these things off. The second tip I want to provide with is to do short clips. A lot of times people complain about their battery life on their GoPro because they're like filming and filming and filming and filming for like minutes, like a half an hour, an hour. And personally, I never do that unless when I'm doing like a vlog like this. But if I'm outside with a GoPro, I film very short clips. I usually upload my video clips to, Shutterstock and Blackbox. These are stock libraries. And so for me, I don't really need to shoot for like a whole hour. It's enough to just get something like 10 seconds to earn a little bit of passive income. I made a video about that if you're interested. But yeah, I would definitely film very short clips. And it's also a lot easier to edit afterwards. If you're gonna edit this big video from a day, just shoot these short clips. You're not gonna show off 1 minute of the beach or 10 minutes of some seagull sitting on a bench or something. You want really short clips anyway in your video, so just shoot short clips. The third tip, and this is something that I pretty much never hear people talk about, I usually use a dual charger where I have 2 batteries and I hook up the dual charger to a power bank, and I have that in my pocket or in my backpack. And when I'm out shooting an entire day using my GoPro, and whenever the battery gets shortened, I just remove one of those fully charged batteries, replace it with the depleted battery, put that in, and it keeps on charging while I'm recording. This way, I'm never out of battery life. Now, yes, another tip, of course, there would be just have spare batteries, but that's kind of boring. So I take it one step further and just tell you to get a dual charger with a power bank. That's the better way. Now, the fourth thing that I want to mention, this is something that not a lot of people know about the GoPro, but you can actually record while you're charging. So if you're filming a lot on a day, you can just hook up your power bank to your GoPro and just record all day. And I mean, there's pretty small power banks also, so you don't really need to have like a big chunky one. Just have a small one. And sure, there's gonna be a wire coming out of the camera. Maybe that's a bit annoying, but you can like tape it on the GoPro or something. It works. I've never needed to, but I know that if I need to film something and I don't have any spare batteries, I can just hook it up to a power bank. Problem solved. The fifth tip I wanted to give you is to keep your GoPro Hero 10 warm at all times. Now, what I mean by that is if it's very cold outside, you have batteries in here. Now, it doesn't matter if you have a GoPro or if you have a smartphone, batteries drain a lot faster when it's cold outside. So I would always try to keep this warm as much as I can. So for example, when I'm not using it and it's very cold outside, I keep it in my backpack or in my pockets at all times. That way I know that the batteries are not being depleted. So that's a really good tip. And vice versa, if it's really hot outside, it could overheat. So you always want to make sure that your GoPro is in the optimal situation when it comes to temperature. Number 6 is get the latest firmware. Now, it might surprise you, but the guys over at GoPro, they're a bit of a lazy surfers, but every once in a while, they do come out with new firmware updates. And these firmware updates can sometimes improve battery life. Like just recently, they released firmware 1.2 and the battery life just got better. There is even this mode that's a power saving mode where it turns off a lot of settings and you can film that way. So always keep your GoPro updated. That's a tip. Number 7, there are 2 LCD screens on the front and on the back on the GoPro Hero 10. The 8 and the 7 doesn't have that. It only has one screen, but that screen draws a lot of power. So one thing you could do is you can reduce the brightness as much as you can, or if you don't really need it, turn it off. Or if you do really need it, but you don't need to have it at all times, you can go into the settings and make it turn off after about 10 seconds or so. That way you're saving battery life. Now the 8th tip is that you can reduce the resolution and the frame rate, which will increase the battery life. I've tested this bad boy and I've sort of tested to see how much battery life I can get out of this just by reducing the resolution and frame rate. So for example, if you're just shooting a vlog, there is really no need for you to shoot in 60 frames per second. And there is a bit of a debate if you should record in 4K or 1080p. And there's a lot of YouTubers out there that are highly successful. They still only upload in 1080p. So keep that in mind. If it's just a vlog, just a talking face like this, you don't need to record in 4K, and you especially don't need to record in 5.3K as you can on the GoPro Hero 10. So there is one more tip right there. And the 10th and final tip on how to increase the battery life of your GoPro is to turn it off when you're not using. Now this might sound like a very ordinary tip, but it is surprising to me how many people always have their cameras turned on. They even turn off the auto turn off function of a GoPro. I never do that. So for example, I always have this setting on that it will turn itself off if I haven't used it for like a minute. And also when I'm not recording, I'm turning it off because that standby mode, yes, it actually does drain the battery life. You know, the screen is on and the image stabilization is active. So yeah, turn it off if you're not using it. And those are the tips that I have for how to increase the battery life of your GoPro Hero. Okay, that's all I had for today. Hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, I forgot. In case you didn't know, for the GoPro Hero 10, you can now get something called the GoPro Enduro batteries. These batteries are actually much better than the regular battery that you get with the GoPro Hero 10 and 9, and that will increase your battery life by something like 40 or 50%. So there's a tip right there. Get the GoPro Enduro battery. Okay, that's all I have for today. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.